All right, let's talk about teenagers. Specifically, what's on their plates and maybe more importantly, what's not. Today we're going to get into some pretty shocking data about teen nutrition, figure out why this is such a huge deal for their future, and then, and this is the best part, we're going to talk about a really powerful hands-on solution that can get started at any age.
So just for a second, picture a typical teenager's meal. You know, that after-school snack or that quick dinner grabbed between activities. We all know they can put away a ton of food, right? But what's the one thing that's almost always missing? Well, the data paints a pretty clear and kind of startling picture.
Get ready for this. According to a huge report from the CDC, only 7.1% of high school students in the US actually eat the recommended amount of fruit every day. Just let that sink in for a second. That means more than 9 out of 10 teens are missing that target. 9 out of 10.
And if you thought that fruit number was a little low, hang on. For vegetables, it's even worse. Way worse. A tiny 2% of high schoolers get enough veggies. That's it. Just 2%. To put it another way, that's like one teenager out of a group of 50.
Now you might be thinking, okay, so they're not eating broccoli. What's the big deal? Well, it's a huge deal. The CDC puts it perfectly right here. The habits our kids build now as teenagers can literally set the stage for the rest of their lives. We're talking about reducing the risk for major chronic diseases down the road, like heart disease or type 2 diabetes.
You know, this isn't about blaming a few picky eaters. What we're looking at is a massive nationwide gap. It's this huge space between what we know is good for our kids and what they're actually putting on their plates day in and day out.
And wow, this chart really drives the point home, doesn't it? Look at that tiny little sliver for actual consumption next to the towering goal bar. Seeing it laid out like this just shows you the scale of the challenge we're facing. That's that 2% figure in visual form, and it is stark.
So the big question is, why? Why is this happening? Because if we're going to solve this thing, we have to understand what's causing it. And it's definitely not as simple as saying, oh, teens just don't like vegetables. The reasons are actually way more complex.
The CDC actually points to a few key culprits. First off, there's just a flood of cheap, unhealthy food everywhere you look. It's easy, it's fast. For a lot of teens, they just haven't developed a taste for fruits and veggies yet. And sometimes the simple reason is that the healthy stuff just isn't around or easy to grab in their own homes.
Okay, I know those stats were pretty heavy. It's easy to feel a little discouraged hearing all that. But I really want to shift gears here, because the research is super clear on this next point. This is absolutely 100% a solvable problem. There is good news.
And this isn't just wishful thinking. Scientists and researchers have been digging into this for years. And because of that, we have a really solid roadmap of what strategies actually move the needle and genuinely get kids and teens to eat more of the good stuff.
A lot of the best information we have comes from something called a systematic review. It sounds kind of technical, but it's actually a pretty cool concept. It's like a study of studies. Researchers gather up all the different studies on a topic, analyze them together, and find out what works consistently. It gives us the most reliable big picture.
So what do these giant studies find? Well, a few key things pop up again and again. Things like having family meals together, just making sure the healthy food is easy to get to, and this one's the big one, repeated exposure. It sounds so simple, but it's one of the most powerful tools we have. Just the act of offering and trying vegetables over and over without pressure.
So, if exposure is the secret weapon, what's the absolute best way to create it? Well, the evidence points to a place that every single family has access to, a simple, powerful tool. We're talking about the kitchen. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics says it loud and clear. Getting kids in the kitchen isn't just about making dinner. It's a real-life classroom for healthy eating. It's the most hands-on, engaging, and honestly, fun form of exposure you can get.
But of course, you're not going to hand a 3-year-old a chef's knife, right? The real key here is matching the task to the kid's age. You want to build their skills over time so they feel more and more confident and empowered as they get older. So let's break down exactly how you can do that safely.
Okay, before we get into the fun stuff, here are the 3 golden rules. These are the non-negotiables. Number 1, always start with clean hands and clean surfaces. Number 2, show them how to do something. Explain the why behind it. Don't just tell them what to do. And number 3, no matter how old they are, supervise. Safety is everything.
For the little ones, ages 2 to 5, it's all about making it a sensory game.
Let them wash veggies in the sink. They get to splash in the water. Let them snap green beans or wipe down the table. As they get a little older, they can start mixing things in a big bowl, brushing oil on food with a pastry brush, or mashing potatoes. It's messy, it's fun, and believe me, it's learning.
As their little hands get more coordinated, you can level up their jobs. A 5- or 6-year-old can totally handle shucking corn or scooping out an avocado. They can even use those blunt-nosed safety scissors to snip herbs. By 7 or 8, with your guidance, they're often ready to start using a real vegetable peeler or even a can opener.
Now we get to the preteen years. This is where they can really start to take charge. A 10-year-old can often follow a simple recipe from start to finish. They can learn to use the stove to boil pasta or use the oven. And this is the perfect age to start teaching proper, safe knife skills. All of these skills are the building blocks for the teenage years, when they can start planning and cooking a whole meal for the family.
So I'll leave you with this one simple question. What's one small thing you can do this week? It doesn't have to be some fancy gourmet meal. It could be as simple as asking your kid to wash the lettuce for a salad or letting your teenager be in charge of making pizzas. The most important part is just starting, just doing it together.